It's showtime, folks. Welcome in Chase and Big Joe on this Wednesday. 1025, 1063 The Game. He is Big Joe. I'm Chase McCabe. Hope you're having a fabulous start to your cloudy Wednesday. Joe, what's up?
Oh, man, good. Quick shout out to everybody last night down in Murfreesboro. They lost. The Blue Raiders did in triple overtime. But that was what college basketball was about last night. It was a great environment. It was loud, triple overtime, middle of the couple of chances to win at the buzzer, didn't get it done. So great time last night. Just sad the Blue Raiders came out on the wrong end.
Yeah, and I was wrapping up the Predators game as I did post game last night, and I had it on my laptop watching and listening to Chip and everybody, and it was tough. I mean, the further a game goes, it's just going to really be who's got the legs and the arms left. You could tell that everybody was kind of spaghetti legged at that point, but unfortunately, their season comes to an end, and it was a good season for the Blue Raiders and Coach Nick McDevitt.
Got to the tournament, but there was a we'll talk about this later in the show, a really awful call last night in the game, which spun the game a different way. I know you shouldn't look at the refs for the game, but at this moment, and Dr. Crane saw it too, it was a bad, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Colton Sisson's going to join us here in just a few minutes. The Predators lost 4-1 to St. Louis last night, so we'll talk to him. But I have a quick little rant that I need to get off my chest. I don't know what it is today, but as Jared likes to say, you people are driving like idiots. And like my drive in today, I was about to lose it. I mean, we got people in the middle lane going 20 miles under the speed limit. Don't get on the damn interstate if you're scared to drive on the interstate.
Okay.
And then, I'm trying to get around, and then we got a-holes behind me that like cut everybody off.
Right.
It's just like you drive a big truck, so you think you own the freaking road.
Are we yelling at people?
We're yelling at people.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, I mean,
get out.
And y'all are going to be very proud of me.
Okay.
That I did something. So this big ass white truck cut me off.
All right.
I gave him the thumbs up. I just like put it right there in the window and gave him the thumbs up.
Not out the sunroof?
No, I didn't have it open.
Okay. Thumbs up. And the reaction was from the guy?
Nothing. He drove off.
All right. Good. Yeah, man. I mean, that's a good way to suppress your anger is to do that.
My thing that drives me, like people don't use blinkers. That annoys me. Like there's a bunch of stuff that pissed me off when I'm driving. The biggest thing is driving too slow. If you're scared, then don't get on the road. You're endangering yourself and other people.
But in the passing lane, in the far left, right? If you go slow in the right lane, I'm okay.
Well,
with
even
that.
the middle lane. Like, what's the deal?
With that too.
Yeah, like I mean, like you should be in the far right lane, and now then people are going to argue. Well, you got to merge in, so it's if they're slow, then I get trailers and stuff going in the middle lane, but like no, like if you're going 20 miles an hour under the speed limit. And like you look at the person and you can clearly tell they're scared to death.
Right.
Like just don't get on the interstate. Call an Uber.
Right. I got a money-making idea off of this for us.
Okay.
So you could talk into your phone and you could text and all that stuff. So we need to get panels on the side of our car, like a running ticker, whatever.
Yeah.
And you could say, like you're an absolute jackass idiot, and have it on the side of the car, and it's a rolling. So they'll look at it. So you get one up on it. Nobody could top that.
I love that.
So we make that, we do it, and we call it the chaser because you're upset.
Yeah.
And then we make all this money.
Like I'm usually not, I don't have too much road rage. But it's just like,
what's our route in the morning? Let's get this out of the way.
So come from the west side, get on 40 west, take 40 west, and then I get on 440.
No, you're going
40 east.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Get on 40 east and take 440 east.
All right.
To 24, and then get off at Briley. And then to Murfreesboro Road.
Okay.
So that's how I usually go. Now, there was something going on 40 right at 440 because cops were going by and everything, but I maneuvered my way over to the far right lane where I could merge into 440, and I was good. But
what's the part of that this trek gives you the most consternation every single day?
It's usually between Charlotte Pike and White Bridge Road because there's a bottleneck.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why, but there it is. We'll get Colton Sisson's thoughts on this. Colton Sissons joins us now, Predators forward. Colton, you've lived here a long time now. Do you get annoyed with Nashville traffic like we do?
It doesn't bother me too bad. I think my standard of traffic was a little different back home growing up.
Okay, so is it worse in BC?
In Vancouver, particularly,
Okay.
yeah, it can be pretty bad.
Okay. Well, I feel better then. That's not why we have you on. We obviously are going to talk some hockey, but I know last night was a tough one. Coach said after the game that it was just kind of the rush that St. Louis had, and they had a few things fall their way. You guys had the looks that just didn't fall your way. What did you see from that one?
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. It was something that we definitely talked about heading into the game, how dangerous they have been really all year in the rush, one of the better teams in the league. And I think early on, we did not do a good job limiting some of their opportunities, the rush specifically speaking. And so we did clean that up as the game went on. But yeah, I mean, it was a tight game really for the most part. And we definitely had some looks that just didn't go our way, unfortunately.
Things got pretty physical. You guys lose Mac because of a penalty. How much of a game changer was it not having him?
Yeah, it was obviously tough. Mac brings a lot of different elements to our game, and obviously got to kind of jumble the lines up. When you lose a forward like that, somewhat early in the game, and we did a great job killing that off and getting ourselves some momentum. So, kudos to the Kill doing their job after that one.
We're talking to Colton Sissons on the People's Show, the Chase and McJoe Show. Colton, a little personal question here. You get paid extra for doing this every morning with us?
He wishes.
No, it's an honor to be on with you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. You wouldn't recognize me if I punched you in the face. Hey, listen, I want to ask you this. When the trade deadline came and went, and let's talk about it. Your name was mentioned quite a bit. How does that affect your day-to-day? I know it's 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, but the fact that you're here, you're still here, what does that do to you when you have to go to the rink every day? Like, God, am I getting traded today or am I going to stay?
I mean, it's stressful. There's no hiding from it. I think I talked about it in another interview. It's probably the worst week or worst day in hockey, for sure. You don't know if your life's going to be upended or not. And, sometimes you lose good friends and teammates that you might not see very much anymore. So it's tough all around. But yeah, certainly happy it's over, and certainly happy that I'm still here in Nashville. Getting to play for the Preds. I love it here, and spent my whole career here, so happy to continue that.
Yeah, that's a rarity. But let me ask you this: is it an honor when they're talking about other teams that want you to maybe put that push for a Stanley Cup run, or is it kind of like, oh man?
I guess it depends. Obviously, it feels good to be wanted, I guess, in some capacity. But you never know what's on the other side. On trade deadline day, you don't know if you're going to a Stanley Cup contender or you're going to a team that's in a rebuild. So I think the unknown is really the hardest part.
Yeah, we'd also appreciate Chase and I if you would not do any more interviews except with us. So that's okay. Is that okay?
Colton's a go-to,
One a
man.
week is good with me.
Colton, we've joked about this before that, when I was in the locker room more and doing the post-game interviews, I always got him after like a 5-0 loss. It's like, I got to deal with this stuff. But he was always great about it.
Yeah, I have had to step up on some of those occasions over the years.
It comes with leadership, that's for sure. Hey, how excited are you guys getting the news yesterday that you'll play in Sweden next year? I know we talked to Phil after morning skate, and he was really amped up about it to be able to play in his home country, but that's going to be cool.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about that. Obviously, we had Switzerland and Prague the other year, which was a pretty unreal experience, and we had a blast. So I would expect nothing less being in Sweden, and yeah, certainly happy for Phil and Willie and some of our Swedes that get to go home.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be awesome. Colton, we always appreciate you, my man. Thanks for doing this, and good luck against Anaheim tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, fellas.
Absolutely. Colton Sissons, forward for the Nashville Predators, joining us here on the show.
I just know he's texting Nick, their PR guy. He's like, come on, man, really? He's like, the one guy I like, but that other guy, no, I'll pass on that guy.
Colton's great. I mean, he's always been
hell yeah, he is.
Been that guy. It doesn't matter. It was funny. Like when I was doing it more regularly, I learned real quick to identify who are your go-to guys in any situation.
Yes.
He was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Like they could win 5-0, he'll talk to you. They could lose 5-0, he'll talk to you.
I love it, man. And he's so underrated.
Yeah.
That he don't get talked about, but he's just as important as everybody is. The Yossi, the Forsberg, the Saros on the team, at least to me. And you're right. When those days you get somebody in the locker room and like, oh, I know he'll talk to me and he'll give me something good I can use on TV or the radio. Either one.
615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 5772 says, not that y'all should care or whatnot, but in my humble opinion, Clarksville traffic is by far the worst in the state of Tennessee.
I hear that.
I've heard that.
And I hear we come in like a blowtorch up here in Clarksville. So we love you guys in Montgomery County. We just got to deal with what we have in front of us. And I every time I go to Clarksville, it's like, do I get off at exit 19 or exit 11 or exit 8 or exit 4? It doesn't matter. It's all going to take me forever to get to Austin Peay every single time.
Yeah. No, I've heard that too. I feel like, so Sean Ford, our general manager, was walking in when I was like, man, people were, jerks today on the road. And he goes, yeah, I kind of noticed that too. Kind of reminded me of being back home at Memphis. So I'm like, are we driving like Memphis now?
Oh my!
In
goodness.
Nashville?
That's a terrible thing, right?
I'm just saying, let's keep
that
that west.
I don't know where it's not. I mean, unless you live on a farm in Woodbury, I think it's all that. All right, our question of the day.
You're excited about this?
I am, because something happened 13 years ago today that was pretty instrumental in the world of professional sports, including the National Football League. Do you know what it is?
I was an intern at 102.5 The Game.
Well, 13 years ago today, Peyton Manning signed with the Denver Broncos.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
So our question is a hypothetical. What would have happened, you know where I'm going with this, had Peyton Manning signed in 2012 with the Tennessee Titans? Okay. What would have happened? How would the back part of his career been remembered had Peyton Manning come to Nashville?
615-737-1025. We'll discuss that and much more. Coming up next, it's Chasing Big Joe on a Wednesday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
in.
Peyton will make sure that's taken care
Oh,
of.
Nico, get over here if you don't mind something. Here's a little money for you.
Chase and Big Joe on this Wednesday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Our question of the day, 13 years ago today, Peyton Manning signed with the Denver Broncos. It was between the Broncos and the Tennessee Titans. So we're asking, what if Peyton had ended his career as a Tennessee Titan? He appeared in 2 Super Bowls with Denver, winning one of them, which, I mean, if we're being honest, he didn't really have a whole lot to do with them winning that one.
5 years he was there, playoffs every year, 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So, all right, so he comes here. What happens? 2012.
Okay.
Who are the players involved? Munchak was the head coach. Did they fire Palmer at this point, or was it the little short guy, Dowell Loggins?
I think it was Dowell Loggins.
All right.
But I could be wrong. All right. So that team went 6-10, just so you know. And that was, I believe, Munchak's last year, right?
No, 13 was his last
13.
year.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was Chris Palmer. Chris Palmer and Jerry Gray were the coordinators.
Okay. Was that the picture of Jerry Gray drinking that drink in the press box during the game? Remember that meme that was sent out after that?
Yeah.
It's like a beer or something. He was up in the press.
So this was after the Hasselbeck year?
He was here. Hasselbeck was here. Yeah.
So 2011 and then, okay.
Yep.
So Locker ended up starting
Yes.
that year.
Yep.
You had Chris Johnson, Kenny Britt, Nate Washington, Craig Stevens. Your offensive line wasn't bad. It was Roos, Hutchinson, Fernando Velasco, Leroy Harris, David Stewart.
One of those guys is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Steve Hutchinson.
Yep.
Defense, Derek Morgan, Sinderick Marks, Jarrell Casey, Cameron Wembley, Hakeem Ayers, Colin McCarthy, Zach Brown, Jason McCourty, Alteron Werner, Jordan Babineau, Michael Griffin.
Okay. So they're okay.
Well, here's the point of me reading off those names. You add Peyton Manning to the mix, how much does that change things? I think Peyton makes Kenny Britt and Nate Washington a lot better than they were.
100%.
And you got Chris Johnson. I don't want to sit here and say they would have won the Super Bowl because that's what he did in Denver or play in a Super Bowl. But I mean, that first year he had in Denver was a career year, right?
I don't remember. 2012. They were good.
Didn't he throw? I think he really surpassed his touchdown mark.
I don't know. That's the playoff game where the Ravens beat him and Flacco threw that deep ball to Jacoby Jones and he scored and all that went on.
All right. He didn't play. He didn't play in 2011. 2012, he was 36 years old. He went 13-3, 400 of 583 passing with a 68 point. No, it was the next year. So he had 37 touchdowns. The next year at 37 years old, 13-3, 450 of 659, over 5,400 yards, 55 touchdowns.
All right, good. So what would happen had he come here? That's what I'm asking. I want people, we play revisionist history all the time. So I'd like to know, what do you think would happen had he come here? I think had he come here, he would have elevated them. But I think the pressure off the field here in Nashville would have been so much on him that I think he realized, I don't want to put up with that.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. And here's a report from Jim Wyatt in 2012. It says that Bud Adams offered Peyton Manning $25 million a year, which was nearly $6 million more than the Broncos gave Manning in 2012. Then there was another report that Adams, who died in October 2013 at the age of 90, fired team executive Mike Reinfeldt after the 2012 season for primarily one reason, failing to deliver Peyton Manning. This is from Jim Wyatt. Adams felt like Reinfeldt didn't act fast enough or at all when the owner told him he wanted the Titans in the Peyton Manning chase last spring. And Adams has held that against Reinfeldt ever since. Well, I guess Reinfeldt got the last laugh. Anywho, it would have been.
Anywho.
The best thing you can do for things is go out there and work as hard as you can. And am I good at all times? No, I'm not. But sometimes I am. Oh, I'm telling you, Peyton Manning and Elvis Presley are the same person. They're the exact same person. I just thought it'd been interesting had he come here, what would have happened. But let's talk about did he come to Nashville? I think he would have absolutely elevated those players around him, and I think they would have made the playoffs. I think it'd been Money Wilson because the guy, wherever he went, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Denver was a winner. And so I just think he would have, and it would have been, I mean, the jersey sales would have been off the hook. I mean, it would have been something that it's kind of hard to comprehend how the circus would have been, because it would have been something, really something.
Oh, it would. I mean, everybody that complains about the Titans not being on national TV or ESPN never talking about them, I mean, that would have been different.
No doubt.
Here's what's funny about this. Like, you sit here and we look at the rosters and think, okay, well, you'd had this guy. If Peyton comes to Tennessee, then, especially that second year, other guys are going to want to come here. Like I looked at the 2013 roster for the Titans. That was Ryan Fitzpatrick that year. CJ's already here. Washington's here. Britt, I think, was still here. Was he not?
Britt should have been.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they got Kendall Wright. Kendall Wright was first round pick that year. Delaney Walker, that's when he signed. I mean, you think about that, like, you got Delaney and Peyton. That could have been a lethal combo.
Oh, absolutely. Nate Washington still had some gas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When he was doing that, it would have gotten this franchise to another level that I know they got there in 19 and 21, but it would have been, I don't know. I would have felt sorry for Peyton Manning being here, because I'm telling you, there'd be nowhere he could have gone at that time.
Yeah.
For privacy.
Yeah.
So instead he goes all the way to Denver and
he still lives there.
Still lives there. Yeah.
Here's some text on our text line. Let's see. In New York media, he decided to waste half his career with some loser small market team, just like his bleeding heart daddy and his ain'ts. Thank God we got the smart brother cut to Eli on the sideline.
All right.
Justin, with Chris Johnson running the ball like a maniac, Peyton would have probably engineered a Super Bowl appearance for the Titans that year. That offensive line with Peyton, with Chris Johnson, was definitely interesting.
CJ, go ahead.
Because you think about this too. The first year in Denver, who are his receivers? It was what's his name?
Eric Decker.
Decker, yeah.
And then
he made Eric Decker good.
Who's the guy that passed away?
Yeah.
Demarius Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
we're leaving out one.
Julius, the orange Julius. You know who I'm talking about? Julius
Irving.
No.
Caesar.
No. 2012 roster. Hang on.
Julius Thomas.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, wasn't he the tight end? Or was he a receiver?
I think he was one of those flex type of Travis Kelce type guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he has the body build of a tight end.
He had Willis McGahee, Eric Decker, Demarius Thomas. He had a good offensive line. Jacob Tammy, who had, I think, played with him in Indy.
That's right.
Was there. Orlando Franklin was the right tackle, was on that team. Derek Wolfe was a part of it. Kevin Vickerson, Elvis Dumerville, Von Miller was a rookie.
Kevin Vickerson, former Tennessee Titan.
Wesley Woodyard was on that team. Chris Harris Jr. was on that team. Champ Bailey was still there.
Jeez Louise. Nice.
He had a good team.
So the thing with CJ was, when CJ signed that massive contract in 2011, he regressed. He got worse as it went on. But you get Manning coming there, and you can make a Super Bowl run. So there's no doubt in my mind he would have motivated CJ to go back to where he was in 8, 9, and 10 to be a lot better than that. I mean, it's just he made everybody around him better. And then I think they would have made a nice run. And then, of course, they would have probably screwed it up somehow, some way. But he would have had some weapons and elevated those weapons to another level. And because that's what he did throughout his career. But it would have been, I think, off the field and the reaction and that went on. Because you saw it when he was flirting with the Titans. I mean, this city lost its mind back then, 13 years ago. So I think he made the right decision.
Yeah, he would have walked in and been like, Chris, there's a new sheriff in town. Who's Chris Johnson?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Chris be like, all right, man, whatever.
Probably.
Yeah, is my paycheck going in? All right, that's all I care about.
Talk to Eli all the time about this.
You got these ready. I love it.
But another thing, I mean, that was 13 years ago.
I know. I was just a little intern.
And our boy Ricky got on Channel 5 for whatever nonsense he was spewing over there.
I don't think I liked him yet.
No, you didn't. No, you did not. And now you guys are ebony and ivory.
I know.
It's the best thing ever. No, but it's just kind of thing. We talk about what ifs all the time. So that's probably more of a what if than anything else. Because we did the thing about the what if. What if Vince Young would have been a 10, 12-year great quarterback for the Titans? How would that spun the franchise in a different direction? We talk about what would have the Titans won the Super Bowl in 1999? What would have happened? How would that have spun the franchise
I mean, that's
to another direction?
That's the one. I mean, we're probably sitting here talking about Eddie George is in the Hall of Fame. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it could have affected Floyd and Jeff in that sense. I mean, Floyd especially, I mean, but we don't know what Jeff's career looks like. We don't know what either one of their careers looks like after that. But you put a ring there on the resume and it gets you in different doors.
Jeff Fisher is John Gruden.
Yeah.
Without a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Basically it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would have – I mean, you're in rarefied air. I mean, there's city, the franchise, everything winning a Super Bowl.
If they win that game, is Steve in?
100%.
I think so.
Yep.
I think Steve and Eddie are in. It helps Derek's case. I think Wycheck would have gotten probably more discussion than he did.
Yes, sir.
About it. And then the Jeff and Floyd part, I think is interesting. It's just amazing how one championship can change a conversation.
It is. And that's the thing with Wycheck. I always thought he's a Hall of Fame tight end.
Yeah.
For what he did in the league and how he kind of changed that position. And now it's like, well, he didn't have more than 600 receptions. And that the impact of the game at that time has been taken away from us. We talk about Too Tall Jones all the time, how he should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, well, he didn't have 178 sacks. His impact on the game at that time was something you cannot ignore. You can't ignore that. And to me, Frank Wycheck was the same way. And had they won a Super Bowl, there's no doubt those three guys that put the Ring of Honor would have been in the Hall of Fame. I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind.
615-737-1025. We'll get to your calls and texts on this. Coming up next, our what if question. If Peyton Manning had signed here 13 years ago today instead of Denver, what would that have meant for the Tennessee Titans? Hey, need to fill out a bracket for the NCAA men's tournament. The first 4 games were last night. You got a couple more tonight, and then things get started tomorrow. Head to thegamenashville.com and download or print off your bracket today. Presented by Toyota. Fuel your adrenaline at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Also brought to you by thenewcumberland.com, Twin Peaks, and Bet365.
care what you say. I talk to Eli all the time about this, and he's like, "Mama's got this and Mama's got that." I just play you tough as you can.
Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Wednesday. What if Peyton Manning had signed with the Tennessee Titans back in 2013 or 2012? 13 years ago today. He signed with Denver. Let's see. Mike and Lebanon, Manning would not have won a Super Bowl with the Titans, but it would have helped the team be on primetime TV, and big-name players would have wanted to be on the team. Patrick said he would have had massive success had he come to the Titans. He proved that every place he went. He was a winner, and I can't stand him. Wes in Clarksville, what if Brady had come to us after New England?
That was 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, during COVID. That's right.
Yep. Devin and Dixon, if we were going to have this Peyton Manning hypothetical question, we must have Joe doing more Peyton Manning impressions.
No,
today.
we don't need that right now. But, sometimes I'll just cut into it because I don't know what's going on. I'm in my neighbor's garage watching the Manning cows. And I said, Eli, you got to stand like this.
Hair Metal Henry said he would have bought Lee's fried chicken franchises instead of Papa John's. I miss Lee's.
I forgot all about Lee's.
Yeah, they were good. I liked that the best.
Right. I'll never forget him after the Super Bowl doing the Budweiser shout out, which was so odd for him because it was so not him. He's getting paid. He said, I want to thank Jesus and Budweiser. Budweiser, the king of beers. I'm the king of the Super Bowls. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then the drunk Papa John's guy was right next to him.
With Manning, we would have been able to draft Tyson Smith or J.J. Watt instead of Jake Locker. Well, Locker was already here.
And J.J. Watt was in the 2011 draft.
Yeah.
So thanks, but sounds good, but it wasn't happening with all that.
Should I read this? I'm going to read this.
Come on, man.
Hey, I won tickets to Ariz and Sari at the Ryman tomorrow night on Robbie and Rex Road. I haven't seen them show up yet in my email. I was just checking them. We'll reach out to you.
You have to take Rex Road with you.
We'll reach out to you. I always love when we get those texts. Anyway, real talk. This is 5772. Real talk, guys. Not to sound dramatic, but I told my 3-year-old just the other day, I hope in his lifetime the Titans make the Super Bowl. Hell, even win one. Well, I hope they do too.
It's gonna be a long, lonely life.
I would have never made that comment to my child. If I had known.
Right? You don't want to get him off on the wrong foot.
I just told him, hey, we'll go to Waffle House tomorrow.
6183. Oh yes, reminiscing the good old days of Titans football, all those championships that never happened. I mean, that's really all we have.
No, that's it. You have the 99 Super Bowl run, the 2002 AFC Championship, the 2019 AFC Championship, and the teams of 2000, 2008, which were loaded and dropped an egg in the first game.
Let's get what Eric has to say about this. Eric, what's up?
Hey guys, before I get to that, you were talking about Lee's chicken. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Lee's become Mrs. Winters because we had Mrs. Winters and Lee's chicken here? I think
they merged.
Mrs. Winters. Yeah, and then they went out of business.
I think Lee and Mrs. Winters were getting it on, Eric, and that was the problem.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and
that's what she said.
And the person who started Lee's was the person who used to work for Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right, Lee Crow. I mean, it all makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But anyway, about the Peyton Manning thing, guys. Here's my thing. I definitely think we would have been a playoff team. I don't know if I buy we would have been a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. You got to consider the talent around you, the organization, all that type of stuff. And the jersey sales would have been tremendous because I think a lot of the guys who were the Colts fans wearing Peyton Manning jerseys were actually Peyton Manning fans, not necessarily Colts fans because those same Colts fans were wearing Denver jerseys. So they might have been wearing Titans jerseys, but for Peyton Manning, but not necessarily because they were Titan fans. But guys, here's my thing. Peyton Manning was very, very calculated in all the moves he made. One of the reasons he went to Tennessee instead of Ole Miss, he didn't want to face the pressure of playing Ole Miss where Archie Manning played, and of course Eli played, and a lot of course fans were mad at him. And my feeling is the only way he would have probably came to the Titans if he never played for the Vols. I just think he didn't want to do that. I mean, he's just very, very calculated in all the moves he makes. It's the same thing with doing the thing with Eli instead of becoming a TV broadcaster. Everybody said, well, he'd be a great TV broadcaster. But I didn't think he wanted to just criticize players or get reviewed badly by other people. So he's very, very smart and calculated his move.
Sure.
This is a guy that still does not do social media because he has his privacy. So that's what I really believe. The only way he would have come to the Titans if he had not played for the Vols. That's just my belief.
Yeah.
That were to happen.
I think
Guys,
that's a fair point.
Those my thoughts, guys. Y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Well, we probably, with the Vols things, you can't discount them. It's not like, well, had not gone to Tennessee, he would have gone, had he gone to LSU or Ole Miss. No, I mean, that was part of the allure. I mean, the guy played at Tennessee, and you still remember how great he was for the Vols. And so that was bringing him here, and he was a success with the Colts. And the guy became just an iconic public figure.
I read some of these texts, and I wish they would actually call in, because I can tell they have no sense of humor and just
yeah,
they're stiff that just wants boring sports talk and X's and O's. 9926 sounds nothing like Peyton. Not a good impression. Then you read some of the other
no, I
texts,
can't
and
go on
it's
the
like
road
same-
and do this.
Yeah, man. Let's just not have fun. Let's just, you're probably the guy that was driving the big white truck.
Oh, now Chase now knows where you work.
I don't care. Thank you for listening. The 0911 says, just cut on the radio, and I thought he was doing an Elvis impression.
Same guy, man.
In the words of Rainier Wolfcastle from The Simpsons, that's the joke.
Yes. It's all the same, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they have the Mississippi connection. They're both born in Mississippi or New Orleans, whatever.
Yeah.
All the same
I was
area.
about to say, I think New Orleans.
Somewhere down there.
Hair Metal Henry, if that was the case, Joe, Lee, and Mrs. Winter should have been going to Church's Fried Chicken.
Oh, man.
Get your fried chicken jokes here on the Jason Big Joe Show. Coming up next, along these lines of Titans fans, we've said it on this show before, and I heard PK say something this morning that I want to address as well. No, it's a good. He says I do drive a white truck. It was you then.
Oh, great.
That's awesome.
Our studio's located in Clarksville. Come by and see us.
Yes. 2nd Avenue.
Did you see that guy? He just gave me the finger.
Thank you, George Costanza. We'll get into that coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, also broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
some of you out there, please listen to this in the good faith it's intended, honestly. They've got you hypnotized into accepting things from a terrible dysfunctional organization. They do this and you go, oh, it's fine. It's fine. They've got you, Robbie mentioned earlier, thinking that Dylan Radins is somebody worth keeping, a second-round bust who couldn't play at right tackle and was serviceable as right guard on a terrible line. And you think, oh, man, we're going to lose Dylan Radins? This organization has masterfully, as a terrible team, convinced you of things that you just accept. Stop accepting this crap. I know you can't like storm the building and asking for better, but there are ways to ask for better. Step back for a second and think, if you're accepting of them not introducing their new guys, if you think Dylan Radins is some big loss, you got a reality check what's going on around the league with good teams, man.
That was Paul Kuharsky earlier this morning on Robbie and Rex Road. And I was, weaving through traffic and, giving thumbs up to people, but clapping while listening to Paul. And what he's referring to, and we haven't really talked about this, is, typically you go through the free agent signing period, right? You get your first wave. And then a week or so later, they introduce them and they have an availability that, we can all go talk to them. And then you all get to hear what they have to say and why they chose the Titans and Nashville and all that stuff. There's nothing usually groundbreaking that comes out of it, but you've been a part of those. Like it's very laid back. It's nice. You get to know the guy a little bit. And then, you give the content creators stuff to write about, kind of in between now and the draft. Well, the Titans have decided not to do that this time. They're not going to introduce these guys. So the first time that Dan Moore or any of the Van Jefferson, any of these guys get to speak is when OTAs start, after the draft and all of that stuff. And so to Paul's point, it's like, this is ridiculous that you're not doing this. Like it, because now all you're going to get, he went on to say, you're going to get opinion pieces. Well, the opinion on the Titans is not very good right now. That's all you're going to get. And then there are some members of the fan base that I will refer to as two-tone till I die that are like, oh no, it's fine. If they decide that these guys don't need to speak, then we support them because we love Miss Amy. We love the Titans and they can do no wrong, and two-tone till I die. And I think Paul's right. There's a portion of the fan base that has been hypnotized.
Don't care. I don't care if you don't get your story, Paul. I don't care. And
I do.
And they don't care. They're giving you a big fat middle finger. That's what they're giving you.
Okay. Well,
that's what it is.
Well, you tell me how that continues to work for them, because
they don't care. They're deaf.
That's fine. It's clear they don't care.
Yes.
They haven't cared for a long ass time.
Exactly.
It's clear. But that portion of the fan base that I'm talking about is small. The large portion of the fan base, like me or Jared or others that are like, I'm tired of this crap. They're getting to the point where it's like, yeah, you're right. We don't care. We don't care about you. Apathy. It's called apathy. And it's setting in
every day. All your shows, all you talk about are the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, I understand.
Tell me who's winning. But I'm not being a jerk.
Yeah.
Tell me who's winning.
You're being a little bit of a jerk.
They're winning. They're winning. They don't care what you think. And once we get past that, Dan Moore. Yeah. Would I love to interview him? Absolutely. Is it going to happen? No. So I don't worry about it. I move on. We're not going to hear from these guys. They've made up their mind.
So you don't
that they're keeping all the content. That's their team. Fine. That's fine. They can do whatever they want. But when they get upset, when they're 2-15 and we're just,
I'm just tired of this shutting down crap. And that's what they're doing. Like the Chad Brinker press conference that he had that was like, you can't record it and we're not broadcasting
That's
it.
so stupid.
Because and it was because he knew the subject matter was going to be tough. And we're all about Rand Carthon. Did you backstab Rand Carthon and all that stuff? And so he was addressing it,
right?
Because he knew he really didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But it's like, let's just keep it covered up. And I'm just tired of that. I'm just tired of the hiding under a rock. Now she's gone and disappeared because we called her out.
She hadn't talked in years.
Well, I know, but now she's not like now she's in a bunker somewhere. I
mean,
like,
that's fine. We know we're not going to hear from her. And so it does not affect my day. I just know it's going to happen. So I move on and go down the line and worry about something else. I'm not worried about this. I'm not, because they've made up their mind. They don't care about it because we're wired differently.
Sure.
I would love to go. If I'm a GM, that's why I love Barry Trotz. I'd love to go on the radio once a week. Give me an hour. Floyd did the same thing.
Right.
Give me an hour. We're different. They're not like us. And I don't know where this all started because they're scared. I don't get it.
But that's what I'm saying. And there are many members of the fan base are tired of that. Because here's the deal. You can get away with stuff like that if you're good. But ever since you have been under this rock and hiding and, we know better than you and all that stuff, you haven't been good.
Right.
And so all it is another example of you're a crappy organization. And I don't want them to be a crappy organization.
Well, it's too
I
late.
want them to be a good organization. You know what? When I met Chad Brinker and talked to him for a few minutes, I'm like, he seems like a nice enough guy. I'd like to root for him. But they do dumb stuff like this that it's just like, it's hard to be fans of them. Amy Adams Strunk is the same way. Nice lady. I want her to be successful. I want to pull for her. But they do dumb stuff like this that keeps, pissing everybody off.
Who's
and
everybody?
alienating a fan base.
You and Jared and Paul, that you're pissing you guys
Yeah, we're
off.
everybody.
Good.
We represent everybody.
Keep pissing you guys off. I don't care. I mean, I don't care that I don't get to hear from those guys. You're going to talk about the team anyway, regardless. They're winning because we're talking about them every single day, every show, almost every damn segment is about Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans. We talk about it, and they know that. They absolutely know that. So they don't need us anymore. That's fine.
So you don't care about that. Somebody that's done this your whole professional career, that spent years going in there with a camera and a microphone.
Right.
You don't care about this.
I can't worry about things that I know aren't going to change. I tell you all the time, we should not suffer imagined troubles. Don't. That's an imagined trouble. They're not changing their mind. They're not. I'm with you 100%.
Okay.
I'd love for all those guys to come on all the time. Because you know what? When you get them away from the facility, like you did with Chad Brinker, what are they? They're great.
Mm-hmm.
They talk. They're fine. Then they get over. It's like, well, it's like the Russian news agency in the 80s. Like, you can't talk. No, you can't do anything. You can't talk to anybody. I would love it. They're not going to do it, so I don't waste my time on it.
Well, damn it. Jared's not helping me. He texts me and goes, I could not give a rat's ass about these free agent press conferences.
Right. No, we would love to hear from him because,
Damn it, Jared.
We brought Colton Sissons on. All right.
Yeah.
I like when we bring guests on because we have fun with it. We have Josh Berry coming on at 10:30. We'll have fun with Josh Berry today, right? NASCAR driver. So it'd be fun to have these guys to get beyond like, what's your kick step on the pass blocking? I mean, what happens to guys swat your hands down? How quickly you get them back? I don't care about that. Just tell me what makes you tick, what you go. And those interviews are fun. If they're not giving us these interviews, I can't worry about that. We'll just go on. We're always going to talk about them. And when they're bad, we're going to slam them. And when they're good, we can say, hey, they're doing things right. So I don't know what's going to happen. I would love for them to talk. I'd love for Amy Adams to talk. It's just not going to happen. So Big Fat Joe moves on down the road. Grab my bag and my wagon, and I go down the road. And
So
I pick up
basically,
Dr. Crane.
Basically, you're telling me just find something else to bitch about.
No, we could complain. I love it. What's American pastime?
Bitching?
Exactly. It's not baseball. It's not apple pie. It's not mom. It is complaining. And we all of us do it in that realm for that. And so that's fine. If they don't want to offer them up, they're the ones who are losing in the end because we could really get to know these players, but they're going to give them up. And I don't know what I would like to know why they're not giving them up. Tell me why.
Sure. I mean, my problem, to wrap this up, my problem is I'm tired of the complaining. Like, I'm tired of, you're right. They are winning and that we talk about them every day because if we don't, we lose. I mean, you and I are probably out of a job.
Right.
Because the people dictate that that's what they want to talk about. Like,
Correct.
we got a couple of texts that are like, move on, talk basketball, whatever. You're in the minority. You're in the very, 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 very minority.
Yes, you are.
On that. And so my thing is, I would love to open a show and talk about, well, Titans win again. The quarterback, whatever, threw for 400 yards in the win.
Right.
Like, we haven't had that in a long time.
No.
And it's like, even when we did, it was a small sample size, and it's still because, how Vrabel was, or just how the world is. It was like, it was almost hard to talk about them when they were successful because we still had to find something to complain about.
Right. One of the best, and I was not working sports radio. I was in TV at the time, but I listened all the time. One of the best times in sports talk radio was when they beat the Chiefs in the playoffs in 17.
Yeah.
Because they had not won a road playoff game in 14 seasons. Now they won in 17. They're going to play Tom Brady, and they made it to the next round. They won a playoff game. They won on the road. And they beat the Chiefs. That was fun. We were all together. That was a fun talk on what the possibility could be going forward. 19 was fun, doing the latter part of that with the run to the AFC Championship. 20 was fun, even though it was COVID year. They're still winning games. So there's a lot of fun that goes on there. And so to sit here and say that we want the team to be bad is false. They determine what we talk about.
Yeah.
That's bottom line. I would love to sit here and talk about, hey, another playoff run. I love it. Let's do this. That's fun too. It's more fun than talking about, oh my God, Dylan Rated sucks. I get tired of that, man.
Hey, Joe, play the hits.
Play the hits, baby. You're right.
Coming up next, we'll continue to do that. Chasing Big Joe on this Wednesday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game on this Wednesday. Hey, join me tonight alongside Jay Moore for Smashville Live at Brewhouse South down in Franklin, 6 o'clock. You can come see Predators star players up close and personal and get autographs and pictures. One of those players will be Jonathan Marchessault. So come out and see us, Brewhouse South in Franklin, starting at 6.
So the tournament basically starts tomorrow. I know the first, well, not the first 4. Yeah, the first 4, not called the play-in anymore. By the way, Dr. Quinn, the Alabama State game, I saw that highlight. Holy cow, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
If the tournament's like that, March Madness is great. So,
And sorry,
go ahead.
So Alabama State wins 70-68 at the buzzer, right? And then Carolina rolls on San Diego State.
What was that score?
95-68.
Yeah, they said they sent a message to everyone. Yeah, I got
okay.
it. Watch out now.
And then
So-
tonight, what do you got tonight? American, right? That's
American.
Adam Vingan,
Who are they playing?
whoever MSM is.
Oh, Main Street Media.
Yeah.
Well, go America, baby. Yeah. I don't know
So
who
is there
that
only one game tonight?
It should be 2, right?
It's 2, I believe.
Oh, here's the other one. Xavier, Texas.
Yeah, I think that's the
Ooh.
11 seeds, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the other ones are the 16 seeds.
Well, go back. Who's MSN? Or
Um,
MSNBC. Who is it?
Memphis State. No, it's Mount St. Mary's.
Mount St. Mary's.
Okay.
Okay. So here's my question for everybody out there, and I'll start with you, Chase. Tournament starts tomorrow, and I just want to know this. It happens every year. Why does everyone hate Duke?
The same reason that everyone hates the Patriots, the same reason that everyone hates
Why do you hate the Patriots?
because they won all the time.
Okay. Is
Yeah,
that
I
why
mean,
we hate Duke?
Yeah, I mean, I think because they win.
Kentucky wins.
People hate Kentucky too.
Carolina wins.
People hate Carolina too.
But we're talking. Does anybody like
The Blue
anybody?
Bloods. It's the Blue Bloods. Like UConn's in there now. I mean,
I don't hear this disdain for Indiana. They're a blue
because they don't
blood.
win anymore.
Okay, but for Duke, I mean, it's like
Indiana. I mean, this will probably start something. Are they really considered a blue blood anymore?
Damn straight they
I
are.
mean, they should be.
are.
I think they should be.
they just fired their coach Woodson and hired West
Yeah,
Virginia's coach.
But I mean, the problem is they're not in the conversation anymore. It's you
But-
know.
I get, yes, they aren't, but they are because you remember how they were with Knight. I mean, Knight won 76, 81, and 87 and rolled with them
I mean, UCLA is the same way.
same way.
Like they should, with what Wooden did there. I mean, they haven't been relevant in a long time.
But
in that
why
sense.
do you hate Duke? I mean, is it because they win?
I don't personally hate Duke, but
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, I think it's because they just you gotta have in every story, you have to have a hero and you have to have a villain.
Facts.
And so, I think there are people that even if they don't give two whats about Tobacco Road, if they turn on ESPN and that game is on, they're not going to just sit there and watch a basketball game. You are going to go either Duke or you are going to go Carolina. That's the way it is. It's just kind of like you turn on the Iron Bowl, Auburn,
Right.
Alabama.
So when Tennessee beat Duke 2 years ago, I remember Tennessee fans like, we don't care what happens now. We beat Duke. And the comments
I mean,
always
because Duke is a upper echelon, like that is a
But
program.
I think it's deeper than that. I think there's just utter disdain for that program.
I'll tell you another reason too. And again, I guess I'm just in one of those moods today.
Yeah.
They're the smart kid school. I think there are people that don't like the smart kid school. Just like there are people that I think boo Vanderbilt and don't care for Vanderbilt because it's like, oh, okay, the hoity-toity Vanderbilt. I mean,
The
those
hell's
do
that voice?
exist. That's how my dad used to do it. Vanderbilt.
I just
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like I think, you got Tennessee that's kind of blue collar and just like the working man's school, and then the doctors and lawyers, and that was the stereotype. And
So-
I think Duke is kind of the same way.
Did it start with Leitner in 91?
Well, probably. I mean,
92?
when Coach K got there, that's when they got relevant. I mean,
Yeah, early 80s.
he made them what they became.
I know they lost in 86. They lost in 90. Then they won in 91 and 92.
Mhm.
Leitner's stomp was 92 was the game against Kentucky. And then I think from that moment on, people started hating Duke. Just was it late? Did Leitner was the catalyst? Was he the catalyst?
Yeah, and we got Mike says on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. I actually like Christian Laettner. There are a lot of people, non-Kentucky fans too, that absolutely hate Christian Laettner. I like Christian Laettner.
Right.
He was a great player.
Yeah. It's a hell of a shot.
He was on the Dream Team, wasn't
He was. And
He
people hated him for that.
Yeah.
He did very little on the Dream Team, but he's on the Dream Team.
he? Right.
I mean, you had Hurley and Grant Hill. Was it Brian Davis? You had Laettner. I mean, those teams won, but
Mhm.
but I get, like, you know, when you have a rivalry, Auburn, Alabama, it's like, I hate him because you're Auburn and I hate you because you're Alabama. But the Duke thing, basketball, to me was always fascinating me because people just can't stand them. And the thing is, you know, when Duke loses, America wins. I'm like, is it really like that? And evidently so, man.
Okay. 9926 makes a very good point.
All right.
Duke always has a white boy who talks bleep and is a dirty player. Who is the one a few years ago?
He plays for the Memphis Grizzlies now. Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen.
Or he might play for somebody
He-
else. in the
Look,
NBA.
great, and to be fair, like Grayson Allen was like, I'm trying to think of a word that I can actually say.
A punk.
Yeah, I mean, pissant is probably the best way.
Oh,
to
that's
put
a good one.
it. Like, he was a bleep disturber.
So if Grayson Allen's on
Stir.
Louisville's basketball team, do you hate him? Probably not,
Probably.
right?
I don't know. No, I think you probably still do.
Yeah. So everybody's like, as
Well,
long
I
as
mean,
Duke loses,
okay, Louisville, I think was at one point in time was in this conversation because of their coach. Sometimes it's the coach, because you have I think they're like, for us yesterday, we talked about Rick Pitino and getting St. John's there,
Yeah.
and we're laughing at he's going to drink a quart of Jameson and all that stuff. There's a faction that loves him, and there's still a faction that hates him.
but that's every coach.
Not to that level.
That's successful.
There are some I think there are different levels of that. Like Coach K, I think there's always respect for what he's done for the game of basketball. Roy
Mhm.
Williams, probably the same thing.
Can't stand Roy Williams. I cannot stand
Why?
Roy Williams. I think he's a pompous ass, and he cussed on national TV
Okay.
to Bonnie Bernstein.
Okay. Well,
I
I'm going to
I've never liked
respectfully
him.
disagree with you, but okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Why do you like him?
I
It's
just
like a scene from Few Good Men. Why do you like him?
I have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a winner. I think he has created good programs at both Kansas and Carolina and has done a lot for the game of basketball.
Okay.
I mean, I like Rick Pitino. I think he's, obviously cheated and got caught and
They all
had some questionable, but exactly.
Right. Yep.
I mean, it's just like we've sat here and talked about Will Wade. Is Will Wade going to get another bite of the apple? The answer is absolutely yes, because he's a good basketball coach. He
He
just
is.
got caught. Now, you
Yes.
can sit here and we can argue that and say, well, he cheated and that's wrong, and it is. And at the time it was. Now
Correct.
half the stuff he did is legal,
I'm with you, man. on all that.
but I mean, they all did it.
Did you hate Bobby Knight?
I don't really think I have a good opinion on Bobby Knight because I was too young.
Okay.
Like, I remember Bobby Knight at Texas Tech.
Yep.
I don't remember Indiana Bobby Knight. I don't remember the chair throw in and all that stuff.
I know. Remember, he had to grab the kid by the throat on the
Yeah.
court and all. I mean, look, that's how it was back then. That's how you don't put hands on players. You shouldn't ever do that, but that's how it was back then. But I think of Bobby Knight, I just think about winning the 3 titles. Keith Smart hitting the game winner at the Superdome in '87. I mean, there's a lot of Bobby Knight things that go in my head with all that. It's funny, Bobby Knight, when I go back, he cut Charles Barkley off the team in '84 and kept a Vanderbilt basketball player on there, which drives a lot of people crazy in the world for doing that. But it just goes back to the Duke part of this. And, I know, when they had, who's the big guy that played for Memphis that won the title with him in 2001? Oh,
Played for
Shane
Duke.
Battier.
Battier, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Shane Battier, from all accounts I've heard, he's like the Pecorino of college basketball.
Yeah.
So nice, so
Yeah.
good. And
But-
it's like, I don't want to root for get with him because he's at Duke and all that went on. And I just found it, to me, again, fascinating that everybody hates Duke basketball.
Well, it's funny, to the texter's point about always having a white boy that talks bleep. I mean, the king, and I loved him because this guy was playing when I was in high school. He's now the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, JJ Redick. I mean,
Yeah.
JJ Redick was that guy.
That's right.
But I mean, he had we had a guy on our basketball team that loved him too. Like, wore his shorts like him, tried to do the dribbles through the legs like him. I mean, like, there were kids that loved JJ Redick, and I mean, he was a pioneer at that.
Right. That's right. He was.
But I mean,
It's
It
like
is-
when they beat Butler in 2010 or 2011, whatever it was, and Butler almost won at the buzzer.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. So many people were so upset that Duke won the national title. That I was like, man, this is something. This is part of the subculture out here that is just not going away for a long time, and it gets stronger each year. Everybody's just pure hatred for Duke basketball.
Mike listening on Kentucky Lake, you are spot on, my friend. If Christian Leitner had played for Kentucky, they'd have his statue in front of Rupp Arena.
They would have.
No doubt.
Do you remember that game? You were so young,
No.
but you've seen highlights.
I've seen it, yeah.
I'll never forget because Rick Pitino said because of that one play, he always did something because that one play going forward. You know what it was? Guard the inbound.
Yeah.
Nobody was guarding the inbound. Rick Pitino said that was the critical mistake because he's able to take his time and loft a nice pass to Leitner down inside right around the free throw line.
There's a question on the text line kind of about these teams I want to ask you when we come back. We're talking a little basketball. 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. It's the Chasing Big Joe show presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. And by the way, all of our tournament updates today, tomorrow, Friday, presented by Toyota. Fuel your adrenaline at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Also brought to you by thenewcumberland.com, Twin Peaks, and Bet365. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, this week's Nashville's best deal, Streetcar Taps and Garden down on Charlotte Pike. Love that place, or Charlotte Avenue. Patio season is here. Enjoy great food, cold drinks, and fresh air on Streetcar Taps and Gardens covered patio. Get half off a $30 gift card now before they're all gone. Just go to thegamenashville.com/deals. Texture on our text line talking some basketball and these blue bloods that everybody hates. Is Kansas hated? This is 9926. Is Kansas hated? It doesn't feel like it.
That's a great question. No, they're not.
Like, okay, the blue bloods in college basketball are Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, UConn, Kansas, and then
You consider UCLA a blue blood?
I mean, they were. They're not anymore. I mean, but they were. I mean, historically, yes. Indiana the same way.
What's your math? Yeah, Tom.
Syracuse.
I think blue blood goes back
Yeah.
a little bit farther than that. It's a
I
tough
mean,
one.
who else would you put in there?
Oh my gosh. But you have to, I'm talking about success between the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. And Carolina, Duke, Indiana, ones that pop in my face. I mean, UConn didn't win until 99. Was that their first year?
Yeah, I mean, they're a new one. I would say they're a new one. But when Jim Calhoun got there,
Kansas, Kansas most definitely.
this is what Google AI says. The blue bloods of college basketball, generally considered to be the most prestigious and historically successful programs, are often cited as Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA, and Indiana.
Yeah. I thought, Syracuse was late to the party. So, yeah.
And
Now,
Connecticut was too.
Now, if you reevaluate that, so I mean, Syracuse only won one title in 2003. That's all they got to do those. But the ones that sit there and you look at, I mean, think about Carolina. Why did Carolina get in the tournament? I mean, I know they beat UC San Diego last night.
They were in the tournament because they are Carolina.
That's it. We can
like that. You
Right.
know, you can sit here and say, well, the ADs on the committee and all that, and sure, that certainly had a lot to do with it. But they got in because they're North Carolina.
That's it. That's exactly why. And so, look, if they get in and win the whole thing, that's beautiful. What did George Mason that played in the first four, and they made a run to the Final Four in like 06 or 07 or whatever it is around those times, though. But I think, Kansas they won it in 88 with Danny Manning, and they won it, 2 years ago? And they won in 08 when they beat Memphis.
Yeah.
When Derrick Rose couldn't hit a free throw, and they kind of bottomed out during that time. But, yeah, those are the ones that I love.
You get that?
That's, it's Farmers Insurance. Yeah, real quick, Chase. Hey, this is Joe. May I help you? Oh, we gave it the office. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Jeff says, maybe this has been said, but in my opinion, the strong dislike for Duke over the years is due to the true or not perceived favoritism given to Duke by the game officials, especially under Coach K. I think the dislike for Kentucky has been due to the cocky, in-your-face attitude of the fans.
I agree 100%.
I would agree with that. I think Kentucky's dislike because of the fan base.
Yeah.
Probably and you can make that argument like in football with, there are people that don't like Tennessee because of the fans, Alabama because of the fans.
Right. No, you're exactly right. The other game that when the Kentucky played Oklahoma in the first round, I mean, it was crazy to look around Bridgestone and see 17,000 Kentucky fans on this neutral site as they took over. And I get where that would rub people wrong, but we still keep coming back for this. I mean, we would love to see North Carolina, Kentucky, Indiana, and whoever else in the Final Four. I know Indiana's not in. I get that. But we still come back and we still gravitate towards those. Again, I'm just fascinated because the hate's not there for Carolina. It's kind of there for Kentucky. But my Lord, even non-basketball people hate Duke.
Oh, yeah. Who are the blue bloods of college football, in your opinion?
Notre Dame, Ohio State, Alabama, USC. Hold on. God, Nebraska was up there. Is that there? Is there more?
Yep. Oh, there's more.
Miami's late to the game.
Nope.
But you got to be 50s. Texas.
Yep.
Because they were good in the 50s and 60s.
You're missing a big one.
That's what she said. Sorry, man. Why do you do this to me? You know what's going to happen. I don't know.
Michigan.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
So Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, USC.
Is Penn State not on that list?
No.
Really?
Florida State's not. I mean, yeah, but I think like old school historic.
But I think you go back 30, the 40s, the
Yeah,
50s, the
yeah.
60s. You know, and we've argued about this about Paul Hornung won the Heisman Trophy in 56 over Johnny Majors. Paul Hornung was on a 2-8 Notre Dame team. And the argument's been at that time and moment, the guys who voted on it were overwhelmingly Catholic.
Yeah.
The sports writers were.
Right.
That's why Paul Hornung won. I mean, you can break it down the middle and see other factors that go in right there. But I think that goes back to the blue bloods of college football. Who was good? Like, I'm surprised Army's not on that list
Yeah.
because they were so powerful from
Well,
the 20s to the 50s.
And again, I just Googled this. This is AI. I haven't fact checked this, but I'm going to assume it's accurate. These teams that I just named, Alabama, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, USC, have won 53% of all AP national championships and have been ranked during 70% of the entire AP poll era.
Good. Well, that's why they're blue bloods.
Isn't that crazy?
That is, my gosh, man. But that's all it was back then. I mean,
Yeah.
And you know, again, Army was a powerhouse, but you know, that's the Notre Dame is there because of what they did, 20s, 30s, and 40s, and all that. Surprised Tennessee's not mentioned more because
They're not a blue blood.
No. But up in like the next tier because they've won a lot of games. They're pretty powerful in the 50s.
It's the championships though.
That's exactly.
I mean, that's what I mean.
How dare you discount their one? Was it 51 or 57? The one they
have 6, right?
Allegedly.
Like I mean, look, that's the thing. Back in the day, like you got Alabama claiming a couple that are questionable.
You had the AP, you had the UPI, you had
Yeah.
a few others that were around back then. So
yeah, I mean, isn't it Scott Frost and UCF? They claimed one.
All Auburn had to do was beat UCF in the Peach Bowl. That would have shut them and the UCF people and
Auburn never got off. Auburn was like, screw this.
Was that Malzahn's team? I think it was. Yeah. Yeah. And then funny, Gus ends up coaching at UCF.
Yeah.
But if they were just
that was towards the end of the Gus bus.
Yep.
And
if they were just beating UCF and shut them up, that argument would have been gone forever. Oh man, I don't know about that,
man. Coming up next, he won his first Cup Series race this past weekend at Las Vegas, and he is from the great town of Hendersonville, Tennessee. Josh Berry, the driver of the number 21 for the Wood Brothers, will join us coming up next here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, the game on this Wednesday, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. And, you know, we talk a lot of racing on this show, especially when it's one of our own, Hendersonville's own, to be exact. Josh Berry won his very first Cup Series race at Las Vegas this past weekend and joins us now in the program. Josh, we're over the moon for you. We're excited. Congratulations. How you doing?
Good. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a really fun couple of days here, and obviously such a big win in Las Vegas, so it's pretty exciting times.
And I think the impressive part of it is you're 5 races into a new team with the Wood Brothers, and obviously a historic team that we'll talk about. You guys have gelled pretty quickly to already find victory lane.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's been it's been a fun off season going through this transition to the 21 car, and we spent a lot of time working together over the off season, getting prepared as we could for the start of the season. But you never really know how it's going to work or go until you get out there and do it. And we obviously had a lot of fun at the Clash at Bowman Gray, and was able to make the main event. And then you head to the first 5 weeks of the season. We've been in contention, I'd say 3 out of the 5, and obviously with the win at Las Vegas. So I think it's, so far our performance and just our overall speed that we've had each and every week has definitely exceeded our expectations, and we're excited to keep it going.
So with the Wood Brothers, when you got that opportunity, we talked to you last year, you're, taking over the 4 car for Kevin with SHR, and then that all happens with them. To be able to run for such a historic organization, the longest running team in NASCAR, I mean, can you really put into words how cool that is?
Yeah, it's been awesome. The Wood Brothers just have such a storied history in the sport, and they've been a part of NASCAR for 75 years. This is their 75th year, and to be driving for them with the legacy they've had and the drivers that they've had in this car is obviously been a amazing opportunity, but really has made it even more yet meaningful just to be running like we have, and to put them in victory lane is such a big deal. I mean, these Cup Series races are so incredibly competitive and hard to win. To go out and get one of these, let alone this early in the season, is a really cool experience.
We're talking to Josh Berry here on the Chase and Big Joe show. And Josh, congratulations. Here's how big of a deal it was for my co-host that you won. In the middle of March Madness on Sunday, we get a group text from Chase that says, "Holy blank, Josh Berry just won." So I want to ask you, what was the first text you read when you got to your phone for the congratulations from somebody?
Man, it's hard to say. I had close to 400 of them, I think. So I've been busy in between everything else we've had going on, between different media stuff and our normal competition meetings and things we do throughout the week, to trying to respond to all these texts. I try to respond to each one of them, so I've been busy doing that. Something that comes to mind is whenever we're in victory lane there, I FaceTimed Dale Jr. and spoke with him briefly, because I know how excited he was for that moment, and he's had such just been such an important part of my life, and I wanted to speak with him quickly. We didn't really talk a whole lot. We're just wanted to talk to him for a minute, and that was a lot of fun.
When you pulled away from Daniel Suarez, at what moment did you realize you're going to win? Was it when you crossed the checkered the line, or was it when you're in winner's circle? When was it you realized I've won this? When did it hit you?
Well, I mean, the battle with Daniel was intense, right? It was a heck of a battle there to get the lead that late in the race, and you're hanging it all, you're giving it everything you got in those moments to try to get out front and get control of the race. And once we were able to do that, and we built a little bit of a gap, things kind of slow down a little bit, I guess, from the driver's seat, and the laps just kind of start to click off. But I think as a driver, to me, the big thing is once you take the white flag, the next flag ends it right at that point. So really up until the white flag, you're just hoping it stays green, right? Because you're in control of the race, you have a gap, you're managing that gap, you're in a good spot. And once you get the white, and basically you realize at that point that as long as the car stays together this final lap and the tires keep some air in them and the engine stays running,
right,
you're going to come around in the checker to win your first race, and that's a pretty good feeling.
Does your this is kind of a weird question, but does your career to this point kind of flash in front of your face, like being here in Nashville, meeting Dale Jr., getting the ride, going to Daytona, all that? Does it all come like in a half a second to where you started to where you are now?
I feel like the last 5 or 6 years have most definitely felt that way. If you look at, now we're in 2025. In 2020, I was racing a late model stock for Junior Motorsports, and we're racing at all these short tracks in North Carolina and Virginia, and we ultimately that year ended up winning the Weekly Series National Championship. And really, at that point in my life, I had, really accepted that I was probably going to be a career short track racer, and that's where my head was at. And then, obviously get the opportunity in the Xfinity Series, and that kind of that changes your mindset to just trying to fight and continue that opportunity. And thankfully I was able to do that. And then you find yourself in, before you know it, you're in the Cup Series, and the Cup Series is such a great challenge. I mean, it's just, it's hard to even put into words how difficult and competitive the Cup Series is. I mean, you got 36 of the best drivers in the world, fighting for these spots week in and week out. And it's just incredibly competitive. And to make it to that point and be competitive and then win a race is a big deal.
We're talking to Josh Berry, Hendersonville's own, the winner at Las Vegas, and driver of the number 21 Wood Brothers Ford. A lot of people know this, that the Wood Brothers, you have the alliance with Team Penske. How beneficial is that to be able to, kind of use that and obviously kind of look at, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano and Austin Cindric is sort of your teammates as you all kind of are under this umbrella. How beneficial has that been?
Yeah, no, it's a huge part of our program. Obviously, the Team Penske and the alliance that we have with them, and everyone is at Ford, obviously, as well, is a huge part of the program with the 21 car. And to me, that was one of the things that made it, such a good opportunity for me, was to, be able to work somewhat alongside, Ryan and Joey and Austin and those at Team Penske. And, to me, I think that was important for me to grow as a driver, to find myself in that environment. And I think it's been really well so far. I think, being around those guys has been a big help for me. And obviously we've prepared some fast race cars and brought them to the racetrack, which is, the most important part of all this process. But I think for me, I'm in the position where I'm just going to continue to grow and get better as a driver and learn more and more from these guys. And it makes it really exciting for the future.
So how much do you look at it now that you got the win and with the way the playoffs work, that obviously helps your positioning when it comes to the playoffs? Does that allow you to be in some moments where maybe you're going to take a few more risks that you wouldn't before now that you got the win?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, it's obviously a great position to be in. And, in the Cup Series, it's, like I said a second ago, I mean, it's so competitive, and really every team in the garage starts the season, and a lot of them, your goal is to just make the playoffs, and that's a steep goal a lot of times to be able to accomplish that. So to be able to lock ourselves in the playoff this early by winning a race is a big deal. It takes a weight off our shoulders of that we've accomplished that goal that we set out, and I think it allows us to kind of just go through the next few months and, just focus on improving and getting better and continuing to work with each other. Obviously we want to, continue to run well and keep that momentum going. And with a lot of good racetracks coming up, I feel like for me, I think, if we keep doing the right things like we have been, we'll find ourselves an opportunity to win another one of these things. And, I think that's definitely possible.
Josh, if you were to come to Hendersonville today with the Pennzoil 400 trophy, what's your go-to spot in Hendersonville you'd go celebrate that Chase and I could come stalk you?
Man, I don't even know. It's hard to say. I get back there once or twice a year. But we've I'm not exactly sure where I would take it, to be completely honest, but it's been it's a lot of fun going there. One that comes to mind is always the National Fairgrounds, man. And that place means so much to me. I finally got the opportunity to race there last summer and the Pro Late Model race there right before the Cup race. Hope to do that again this year. and it's always fun going back there and seeing a lot of people that you haven't seen in years.
Possibly, could we do donuts in the Volunteer State Bank parking lot where you worked? Can we do that?
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I don't know how much they would like that, but it's been a while since I've been there. But the last time I stopped there a few years ago. There was a lot of people there that I worked with still working there, so that'd be pretty funny.
Oh, what a great story, man! That's so cool.
Well, and I love, a lot of people will say Hendersonville, Taylor Swift, but I always point out that we got a couple of race car drivers and Josh Berry and Joseph Newgarden from Hendersonville. So that's always fun. Did you and Joseph know each other at all?
Yeah, so actually we did, and we actually shared a handful of classes in middle school. We both went to Ellis Middle School there in Hendersonville for a couple of years, and actually pretty recently, probably a month ago now, Joseph and we met back up there, and we were doing some work for one of our partners, which was PPG that we share between the two of us, and we actually went back to Ellis Middle School and spoke to some students there, which was a lot of fun. And the students and some of the faculty there, they had the yearbooks, they had our pictures and everything, which
Nice.
was a little embarrassing on my part, maybe a little bit more normal for him, but yeah, we went back there to see that, and that was a really fun moment, and it was really cool to get back there and do that.
That is awesome. We need to get Joseph in a stock car at some point. He's kind of said, like, when the IndyCar stuff wraps up, he'd look at it. But I think it'd be fun to see him out there with you guys.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. He's obviously if you win the Indy 500 a couple of times, you're obviously a tremendous driver on the oval. So I think he would without a doubt he would take to it really fast.
No doubt. Josh, thanks so much for doing this, my man. Good luck this weekend in Homestead, and once again, congratulations. We're all proud of you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
That's race car driver Josh Berry, driver of the number 21 for the Wood Brothers, joining us here on the show. We'll have more coming. Chasing Big Joe on a Wednesday, 102.5, 106.3, The Game. All right, chasing Big Joe 102.5, 106.3. The game on this Wednesday. We're going to move fast and furious, just like Josh Berry did at Las Vegas. See what I did there? Join us tomorrow. Come play hooky with us, 9 to 6. We will be at Boomba's in Murfreesboro. Friday, we'll be at Boomba's in Spring Hill. Come enjoy award-winning pizza, handcrafted beverages, win prizes, and watch hoops with us. We will be there all day long. With that, let's get to what day is it and celebrity birthdays. Presented by Jarrett Companies, Inc., above and beyond industry standards. Visit them at jarrettcompanies.inc.com.
All right,
Turn
John.
that mic on.
Yep, there we go. It's day number 2. Sorry, Rex Road. Let's see. First, we have Certified Nurses Day, Clients Day, Let's Laugh Day. Did that earlier today.
Right.
Every day.
Yep. National Backyard Day. Have a nice backyard. Let's see.
What?
here. I said, let's have a nice backyard.
Is there more meaning to this?
There is not.
Okay.
That's what she said.
We have a
Right.
bonfire. Who put that on the teleprompter? Burgundy. National Caramel Day. Ooh, caramel or caramel? It doesn't matter.
I say caramel.
Caramel.
Oh, okay. Well, caramel. National Poultry Day. Let's see. Nauru. I don't know how to pronounce. This is a different language. Nowruz Day. I don't know. It's some. Hopefully, I'm not being disrespectful. Take Down Tobacco. National Day of Action, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Day. So
That's a good day. All right,
That is a
time
good
for
day.
celebrity birthdays. You got to get these within 2 years. Our first birthday, Glenn Close. How old is Glenn Close?
70.
71.
78. By the way, Fatal Attraction, amazing movie with her. Move on down the line here. Let's see who next is. Bruce Willis. I know he's going through a few
man.
things right now. Bruce Willis.
68.
71.
70.
Oh,
So
wow.
close. Well done.
So,
there.
Dr. Crane.
Yep.
Yep.
Up 1-0. I'm going down here. Come on, computer. I love pop-up ads. Don't know who that is. And I even went down there. All right. Actress Ursula Andress. She was in Dr. No, Casino Royale, a lot of Bond films.
Yeah.
Rush me.
42.
44.
89.
Okay, wrong one.
The last member of the Pointer Sisters, Ruth Pointer.
83.
77.
79. Dr. Crane's up 2-0. Well done. Actor Connor Trenier from Star Trek Enterprise. I don't know who he played.
I didn't get into Enterprise as much. 53.
60.
56. Rapper Bun B of UGK. Love that guy.
47.
50.
52. Dr. Crane's up 3-0. We're trying to rush through these. Hold on. God, this is a terrible day for birthdays. We just got 3 left, which is good. Antonio Daniels, basketball player.
44.
42.
50. Rick Meyer, Notre Dame quarterback, first-round draft choice of the Seahawks.
72.
63.
55.
Oops.
And our March 9th is the worst day for birthdays. Our last birthday, Andy Reid. How old is Andy Reid today?
71.
77.
67.
Dang.
Dr. Crane wins 3-0.
Bad.
March 19th. Bad day. Bad day.
That is going to do it for us today, though.
It is. As we leave every show to our guys out there, listen, we tell you every time, if you're going through something on your cell phone, you could call or text 988. Please talk to someone. I said today, you are where you are because somebody believed in you, somebody loved you, and somebody prayed for you. Keep the journey going. Our world is a better place because you are here. Please know that. Please know that we love you, and more than anything else, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. DVD is coming up next here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.